And we've arrived at the ace matchup of SKT1 versus OGN. Sort of surprising we actually reached it, but anyway, this is Bisu versus Yellow Arnc, and this is going to be an exciting matchup, I think. I am going to have to favor Bisu once again, but after Bisu losing to Taza, wow, that was amazing. I don't know. I can't say anymore. I thought that, honestly, that SKT1 would take this series 3-1 because of the middle three players. Games 2, 3, and 4, they should have won all of them. Best, Bisu, and Fantasy, the best of SKT1 being put forward, and two of them against relatively weak against completely weak players, Taza and Haksu, two unknowns. But one of those unknowns won, and this is going to be Protoss versus Zerg on Medusa. Yellow Arnc's worst matchup is against Protoss, 45% against Protoss, whereas Bisu, of course, is a real Protoss Zerg killer. I'd say he's I'd say he's the best Protoss against Zerg player in the world. He's just so good. Of course, he is the revolutionist, as you see there, for revolutionizing Protoss versus Zerg play. And I know people are going to say he didn't invent the Forge Fast Expand, but he certainly expanded its breadth and its commonness of use among Protoss by showing just its absolute power against the macro Zerg play that Savior was really going for back in the day, Protoss versus Zerg. Anyway, Bisu is going to go for Fast Expand, of course, most likely. And I'm not going to call it the Bisu build. The Bisu build, of course, is a very specific build that involves lots of Corsairs and DTs after the Forge Fast Expand. And you can even get more technical, but I don't think that's necessary for our commentary purposes, but it is a common sort of nitpicking thing that people like to do on the internet, and I think it's silly because the commentators know what they're talking about, and so do the people listening. But anyway, this is a Forge Fast Expand, and it's going to scout in the wrong location here. Yellow Arnc was defeated soundly, by the way, by Jangbi. I called it the yellow brick road that Jangbi walked on in the MSL because Jangbi was able to face him, I think, something like 5 times. In 5 games, he was able to face him in the round 32 where he beat him, and then once again the round of 8 where he 3-0'd him. I think he met him somewhere else also. But it was just relatively easy because Jangbi was able to play Arnc and beat him, and Arnc is just not so good against Protoss. He just can't beat good Protosses, unlike his brother Luxury, who can, his twin brother. And Arnc is going for a 12 hatch 11 pool here. I actually like going for a overpool or a 9 pool speed, some kind of opening like that. That's been more standard on Medusa, I think, because you really just don't want the Protoss to keep that scout alive for a long time. You want to generally, I think, do something creative on this map. For example, Jaedong pulled off something absolutely epic against Free on this map. Check that out in my MSL cast. I believe it is in my folder, I think, in my channel, where he went for 1 hatch lurkers against Free, and it actually worked on Medusa by killing off the temples, getting behind. But looks like he is going to get a scout into Bisu's base. Bisu, of course, taking the most economic way possible, getting the Forge, and then getting his Nexus. Looks like Arnc manages the plant anyway. Good harassment by Bisu, though. And Arnc is going to go for the 3 hatcheries here. We'll see if he decides to put down a 4th after he kills off this scouting probe, or if he'll go for some kind of faster tech than putting the 4th hatch will allow him. Those are all drones there, actually. Nice fake. It actually got Bisu to put down just 1 cannon, I think. I think the other one's a gateway, so Bisu not going to be faked out there by the 3 drones being produced at the same time. Sometimes the Protoss player will build 2 cannons in response, and in response to possibly 6 lings, and in this case, no. Just 2 lings being produced, so Arnc going for a very economic build. He's going to put down the 4th hatch. Unfortunately, he should build 2 lings at least in the beginning, 3 eggs, so he could kill off that probe, and then he wouldn't have to reveal that he went for a 4th hatchery. Now his tech is going to be really slow. Bisu might decide to go for a lot of tech here, might decide to go for fast Corsairs and just try to overwhelm him with, possibly Corsair Reaver or possibly Corsair DT. The Bisu build! We'll have to see, though. And Bisu's going to have a pretty big tech advantage pretty soon. Looks like he's going to send another Zealot out with a probe. Now, of course, what could happen here is a fast 4-hatch Hydra build, which I love doing. I think it's a great build if you can kill off the scouting probes, especially if your opponent expects something like fast tech. If you go 9 pool speed or something, and then put down a lot of hatcheries and actually go into a 4-hatchery rush or a 3-hatchery Hydra rush, that could be really effective. If your opponent doesn't scout, and it's going to come down to the scouting probe, Bisu doesn't get it in, but he's going to probably use the Zealot to help him get the probe in, and the Zealot's going to, the Zerglin's going to have to attack the Zealot, and no, it looks like, no, Bisu's not going to be able to force a scout in. Meanwhile, it doesn't seem like we're going to see a 4-hatch break here. We are going to see the lair upgrade, so playing it relatively slow here from Arnc. Arnc's going to try to go for a big mid-game push here, or actually possibly just a lurker contain or a lurker defense or something like that. We'll see though. Could be interesting. There's a Hydralisk Den. On time for lurkers, I believe, and here comes the scout being forced in. So Bisu with 2 Zealots, he is going to be able to get the scout in. I think, no, he actually doesn't. He just sees a den. He sees a den finish, so just finishing, I think. So he's going to know it's not in time, I think, for a 4-hatchery bust. So he's not going to be building a lot of cannons. He's also not going to be building a lot of cannons at his front nor at his main base, and that's the difference a scout makes. I mean, did you see that? Bisu has just 1 cannon in his front because he knows he doesn't need any more. There is no fast Hydra rush, and he's going to go Corsair Reaver, I believe, given that he's put down the robotics facility. And it's a very effective build, certainly, against a Hydra-heavy army, especially if you're facing slow tech, as we see here from Arnc. Arnc with a couple Hydralisks out, and he's got a Spire out, so often we see what this build done a different way, but this is also fine. I mean, often we see 3 hatches into lair, and then the Spire, Hydralisk Den, and then 2 more hatches. That has been a very common Zerg versus Protoss modern build on these maps against Protoss Fast Expand. But now we're going to see sort of a little bit of a change up there, getting the 4th hatchery first. And then we'll see if when he pulls up the expansion. I suspect it will be fairly soon, though. Once he gets a number of lurkers out, he'll be able to get that expansion down safely. And just look at that macro going there. The problem with it is that if Bisu can get his Reavers out soon, Arnc might not have enough forces. Arnc needs to also really have good Scourge control. He needs to Scourge these Corsairs and, of course, try to get the shuttle, or at least force the shuttle down to drop the Reavers or something. Otherwise, he is going to possibly get run over by those Reavers. They're just going to do so much economic damage. He's got drones, and that's it. Very few Hydralisks on the ground here. And no Scourge yet, although the Spire should be done pretty soon. And those Scourge should be coming out. Now with a moderate-sized force here, he's going to try to take the middle again, and probably he's going to pick up another expansion while he's at it. He really needs to, though. He needs that 3rd